Faded photographs capture the lives of those who defied convention, turning their differences into stories that captivated and mystified. What if we could unravel those stories together? Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind moments captured in time. In the 1870s, Paris was a city of marvels filled with artists, adventurers, and performers, among them Captain George Constantinus. Born in 1833 in Souli, Greece, he had lived an adventurous life before becoming a performer, first as a pirate and later as an actor. His body, fully covered in tattoos from his years at sea, became a spectacle in itself. At the time, tattoos were still considered exotic in Europe, and Constantinus's inked body drew the attention of Parisians fascinated by the stories each design told. His performances, where he flaunted his tattoos, captivated audiences and added an air of mystery to his already adventurous persona. Constantinus didn't just perform, he brought his pirate past to life through the stories and images tattooed across his skin. His acts appealed to the growing trends of exoticism and fascination with the unknown, blending the excitement of piracy with the circus atmosphere of the time. In an era where the unusual was celebrated, Constantinus became more than an entertainer. He was a living narrative of history, intrigue, and adventure, symbolizing the wild, mysterious spirit of 19th century Paris that people couldn't get enough of. The US saw the return of two remarkable performers in 1951, Daisy and Violet Hilton, the British-born conjoined twin singers. They emerged in the world in 1908 and were born for giving fascinating performances, but unfortunately mostly exploited. When they joined actor Mario Laval in their second movie, they had already conquered the world with their tenacity and an inspiring plot. The Hilton sisters were always inseparable, and there was more than just genetics that connected the two. Though they were not from respectable families, they enthralled the audience by singing and dancing and by being irresistible. Their performances were outstanding and had the capability of drawing curiosity as well as admiration. They were able to entertain their audiences on stage besides humor and elegance, hiding what they went through. The post-war years were rife with interest in human resilience and pageantry, and therefore Daisy and Violet were identity symbols. How they turned misfortune into a masterpiece, people were reminded of the richness of life and its intricacies. Myrtle Corbin was born in Texas in 1868 and may not be able to walk because of a rare birth defect known as dipygus. She had two pelvises and two full working legs, but no knees. Myrtle grew up to be a full-fledged teenager, fully accepting who she was, and decided to turn her whole performance into something that astonished the audiences and, at the same time, fascinated them. Performing in the late 1800s, she attended the circus and became a renowned performer in the attractions called freak shows. Myrtle didn't just perform, she embodied resilience. With 4 legs, she became a symbol of human adaptability, captivating the audience not just with her physicality, but with her fierce confidence. She played with their curiosity well, and this made her become a favorite icon of circus and sideshow performers. It was written at a period when people were interested in the strange and mysterious, which Myrtle provided together with elements of exemplary humanity. Her story is an inspiring story, which will go to show that one has to fight for and learn to accept the odd one out. Christian Ramos was born in Poland in 1891 with hypertrichosis, a disease that left his body hairy and gave him a growth of thick, long hair. Proclaimed the human werewolf by people who came to see mysteries, Christian rose to popularity in the early 20th century when sideshows and circuses reigned supreme. Christian's appearance was otherworldly. His thick, wild hair sparked a sense of both awe and unease in those who gazed upon him. To some, he was a marvel, to others, a grotesque mystery. But there was more to Christian than his looks. He had something of an entertainer in him. He liked to narrate and dramatize. With the musician's instruments, or with the stories that narrated his life, whether in theater, radio, TV, or movies, he had the magnetism of a stage. Since in the 17th century, the tendencies of scientific exploration and interest in outstanding phenomena of the human body were booming, Christian became an icon of strength and uniqueness. He took what could have been a lonely disease and made it a grand profession for himself. Shrouded by elements of mystery, humor, and sheer theatrics, he ensured he stamped his legacy indelibly on the sands of time. Isaac W. Sprague was born in 1841 and appeared to lead a fairly normal life until the age of 12. That is when he started losing weight, losing it quite fast, and with no clear reason as to why. By the time Isaac was in his teens, his rapid weight loss had earned him the nickname the Human Skeleton, a moniker that would secure his stardom in the middle of the 19th century. He was taken the most interest when medical science was still something no one could comprehend, and the high level of emaciation was considered exotic. In 1853, Isaac was depicted wearing the dark suit, losing the circus owned by Phineas Taylor Barnum, also known as P.T. Barnum. People flocked to watch this sensationalized living prodigy who went against the general laws of biology. Behind the spectacle of his emaciation, whispers swirled. Was there more to Isaac's condition than met the eye? Could science, or something more mysterious, be at play? These popular tricks with Isaac and his ability to amaze the audience with his peculiarities turned into a legend. While he was famous for the hysteria that he caused, interest in anything strange or out of the ordinary was not far from the truth of an age that was captured by anything peculiar. Ella Harper, who became famous as the Camel Girl, was born in 1873, suffering from congenital genu recurvatum, a condition in which the knees bend backward. One unique feature about her body was that she mainly moved on all fours, a feature that captivated and amazed the public of her time. During the last 2 decades of the 19th century, interest in the bizarre reached its pinnacle, and Ella started her public appearance under the big top and in the tent of the sideshow. She produced enchanting and elegant dances on the stage. With every movement, Ella defied the limits of her body, transforming what seemed like a physical curse into a performance of grace, turning her strangeness into an art form. The spectators were amazed that she had this special kind of gift, and at the same time, they must have been curious about her survival. In an age where the otherworldly captured the imagination, Ella had not only contracted a strangeness, but was also adamant to live an extraordinary life. She was proof that she was alive, and there is nothing wrong with being different from others. Chang Bunker and Eng Bunker were born in 1811 in Siam, which is present-day Thailand. They are considered to be the origin of the term Siamese twins. Tied with a band of cartilage at the chest, the brothers were a fantastic case of conjoined twins that left people fascinated and astonished wherever they went. Chang and Eng began to tour across the globe by the 1820s, not only presenting their Siamese connection, but also their wisdom and humor as well. Viewers were fascinated not only by their physically distinct appearances, but also by their coordination, wittiness, and capacity to experience life together as if they were one entity. They had sports, athletic stunts, and intellectual debates which made the spectators stunned as well as encouraged. In the 19th century, filled with enthusiasm and a search for the extraordinary, Chang and Eng were not just a show, but a proof and a triumph of the human spirit. Their rags to riches experience, which took them from the small town of Siam to the world, was born out of determination, courage, and a special friendship. There used to be a man named Schlitzie, a 5'3" Mexican dwarf, who was born in 1901 and was known as the last of the Aztecs. Schlitzie was possibly born in the Bronx and had microcephaly, which is a condition that led to having a small brain and skull, and the person has intellectual disabilities. Schlitzie then became a phenomenon of the early 20th century when people paid much attention to those who were somehow different from others, due to his gleaming teeth, friendly disposition, and preference for street clothes that gave him the appearance of a woman's loose dress. Schlitzie proved popular. He could speak in some basic words and copied some movements, which pulled the spectators with a mixture of surprise and compassion. Schlitzie's joyful personality and infectious energy challenged society to rethink its assumptions about normalcy. His life, though shaped by physical imperfection, became a powerful celebration of human diversity showing that every individual, no matter their appearance, has something valuable to offer. At the turn of the 20th century, circus performers were seen as mysterious and awe-inspiring figures, and among them was a stilt walker known as the Dane. In 1912, as people were still embracing new forms of entertainment, his performances astonished audiences. The sight of a man walking several feet above the ground on stilts was surreal, pulling spectators out of their reality and into a world of wonder. But the Dane didn't just walk on stilts, he danced on them, swaying gracefully through the air, which added an extra layer of elegance and skill to his act. The audience's reactions were a mix of laughter, amazement, and curiosity, as some tried to mimic his awkward, towering walk or tugged at his trousers. The performance was more than just an act. It became a symbol of aspiration. In a time when entertainment was limited to live performances, the stilt walker's graceful defiance of gravity reminded people that with a little courage, they too could rise above the ordinary and reach for something greater. An extraordinary child performer in New York on September 16, 1938, was 13-year-old Mildred Buda, whose performance on the piano was unusual and intriguing. While studying acrobatic dancing at the Demuth Dancing School, Mildred successfully integrates her love of dance and her musical education in the most striking manner. She used to play the piano in an interesting fashion, for she would perform the exercises as well as the tricks she was practicing on the piano, and all the time she was flipping and twisting in the air. The risky attempts at both flexibility and musicality not only revealed her talents, but also the curiosity of the people watching her. The show business during the time of vaudeville performances and the new and crazing acts was quite unique, because Mildred's act featured a more complicated form of a vice that merged both art and the body's physicality in a more complex way. Her performance of juggling two exhaustive courses at once could only be described as remarkable. Perhaps it was the era of entertainment, as one could never know what surprises the performers were to offer. Merriment, thrill, and mystery, with Mildred performing both on piano and acrobatics. Thank you for revealing the stills of the past with us. If you enjoyed this story, you'll love these. Remember, behind every still, a story unfolds.